the physical content, the actual content that we need to create, there's three types. The first type is
Visual maybe?
yeah. So visual would be what? Images, right? Images. Another one would be video, right? Would you agree? Video? Okay. Let's put video up here because I think it's one of the most important. And then a third would be audio, some type of audio. And also in images, I'll put the written word there as well. So I'll put the written word there as well into images. So that's sort of a triangle of content you need to have to get your messaging across. Okay, makes sense? All right. How many times a week should you get new content out? I mean, what's the idea of how many times a week should you get new content out? Like if you're posting on social media, how many times a week should you post on social media? What's the number? What's the right number? Is there a right number? There really isn't. I mean, you hear stories.
In marketing?
And yeah, if anything, we're talking about marketing and
at least one time per day.
okay, that's good. One time per day could be right. Do you know if one time a day is better than?
You need, well, Instagram is really good because when Instagram you can see exactly what is the time when you have more traffic and, the population see the post and everything.
Exactly right. You have to really focus in on
You
your
can
messaging.
create a niche for that one.
That's exactly right. So if you post one time a day, you're posting within that time period that makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So one time a day, that's 5 times a week, let's say. And what are the social medias that you use? Let's say Instagram.
Facebook.
Facebook's another one. And what else?
Like the populars is Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Twitter would be up here too, and maybe YouTube if you're doing YouTube
Now
stuff, videos, right?
now it's YouTube. The boom is YouTube. It's
Right, because video is one of the most important things you need right now. Everybody's looking at a video.
Yeah.
Yet there's not enough video content out there because people want to see videos. In fact, now we're moving to vertical videos. I don't know if you guys know that. It's no longer horizontal videos. Most of us are watching videos vertically now.
Yeah.
So we have to try to think vertically with videos. So video, image, written words, and audio. Those are the 3 types of content. Now imagine this. We have, right here, we just have 4 social medias. You said we have to post how many times a week? 5 times a week.
Or 7. 7 is one time per week, you know?
So one time per
one
day.
time per day.
Okay, so let's go with 5. Let's use five math. And you should post different messages to different audiences sometimes, right? Perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's assume we only post 1 time a day for each channel. Okay? And we use video, audio, and images. Now maybe it could be all the same, but it's 5 times a day. 5 times a day, and then you have 4 channels. So how many posts is that? That's 5, 10, 15 times 4, that's 60. 60 posts a day. That's one day, 60 posts. Now, let's say you're in business 352 days a year. Right? Most businesses are in business 352 days a year. What is that number? 352 times 60, it's quite a big number. That's a lot of posts to make. So how does a company make that many posts? Now you can have one person doing it all, 2 people doing it all, but it is a full-time job just making the post itself on a regular basis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then once we post, what do we want after we post? We want some type of action. So do you post to get a conversion or do you post just to get a like and a follow? What's your choice?
Follow.
Yeah, follow, right? But do you really care if you're in business? Likes are nice. I like to be liked. Everybody likes to be liked.
Mm-hmm.
But as a business, does that bring any money into you if people like you? If people like you, do you make any money? No, you really want, it's good to have that foundation of people that like you, but you really want to have conversion. You really want to convert. So you want to turn those likes and followers into conversion. So you have to have some kind of actionable plan to turn those posts into action. And I'm not talking about boosting a post or anything like that. Boosting a post really doesn't do anything for you. It might get you more followers, but getting more followers, again, doesn't convert. So you have to figure out the timing of it all, the messaging, and how do you get them to convert. That's important. That's what the post is. So imagine if you have different messages. Let's say you have one brand, but the brand has different messages. Do you need to create different messaging for each one of the platforms? Like on Instagram, it's a different platform than Facebook, right?
Yeah.
So your messaging, it could be the same, but the way you create the message is different. Profile-wise, size-wise. Twitter, the same thing, right? There's limitations on Twitter. On YouTube, of course, that's a whole different way of making creating a message and getting the message out. So you can see the complexity of trying to get all these messages out just for one small business. Now, big companies have a team to do this, and some small businesses have 2 or 3 people to help out. But even with those 2 or 3 people, it doesn't really hit the target. So what I think has to happen in the future, what we have to do in the future is we have to start being a little more focused, a little more targeting in how we get the message across and who our target audience is and the messaging. Why would you post on Facebook if it's not driving business? Just because it's there? When you talk about posting, most people think you can post your way to success. You really can't. The system is not set up that way. You have to have advertising. You have to have some type of paid promotional post. I was talking about, speaking of boosting a post. Boosting a post doesn't really work.
No,
You have to really promote it. You have to pay for that promotion on IG or Facebook, and then when you spend the money, that's when you get that conversion. That's when you get that call to action. So I remember when I was marketing way back when, we had magazines, we had TV, we had radio, and unless you put a specific call to action, like bring this coupon in to get a discount or mention my name to get a discount, you really couldn't measure how good that ad performed. But today now we can measure just about every type of ad we do online, which is phenomenal because that allows us to look at our return on investment and our conversion, which is the most important thing. In the past, we used to do a TV commercial, and then we would look at our results of sales after that commercial might have hit on TV. And then we could assume that commercial drove the business, but we really don't know if it did or not, unless it was very targeted and very geographic centric, where we focused in on the geography and we could say, yes, that ad only played here and sales went up, so we can draw a line to that ad. Today, we know exactly what's happening. We can actually look at the analytics to decide if this worked or that worked, and it's a testing, there's a testing opportunity. There's no magic to the way you promote something online today. There's no secret formula. You have to get it out there, and then you have to come back and measure it to see what works. And sometimes you have to take plan A and go to plan B and plan C. You have to measure it and update it all the time. That's sort of the way that whole process works. So the content that you create is important because you still have to have the messaging, right? That's the most important thing. So let me show you something here. So take a look at what I'll do here. So I'm going to take the ball, right? And it's a basic red ping pong ball, and I'm just going to sort of throw it up on the wall like this. I'll do it 3 times. Ready? Here's 1. Here's 2, and here's 3. All right. How did I do?
Good.
I did good. How do you think I did?
Yeah, you did.
Good? Did I do it right? Why do you say I did good?
Because you want to
I threw it up and I caught it.
But
Yeah,
never,
I got it.
exactly, you
Really?
never dropped the ball. So.
I never dropped the ball. So if you factor in the fact that I threw the ball and I caught it, I never dropped it, I did good. But do you really know if I did good or not? Because you really had nothing to measure me against, right?
Exactly.
It's just your opinion. Now, if I do the same exact example and I do this, right? And now I take the ball and I do the same thing. I throw it 3 times, right? Now how did I do?
2 of 3.
2 or 3. You saw that. He's got good eyes. 2 or 3. So 60%. If I was trying to target 60%.
66.
66%.
You can
Right.
measure.
Now you can measure. And believe it or not, that's what messaging and that's what targeting is all about. If you don't have the proper target, if you don't see the target you're trying to hit, you can't measure it. There's no way of measuring it. You don't know if you hit the target or not. There are a lot of companies that are out there, believe it or not, and they'll just throw the ball up here against the wall, and every once in a while somebody will walk by, right, and get hit in the head with the ball. Every once in a while you'll get lucky like that, which is good. You need a little bit of luck. But if you set up your target, and then you start trying to hit the target, you know if you're hitting the target or not. You know if you're below the target, above the target. You'll know if you need to adjust your messaging or keep your messaging the same. So that's really important, understanding who your target is and trying to create that message to hit the target. If you were 70 years old, are you in the need for a skateboard if you're 70 years old? Maybe if you're very athletic, if you're adventurous. But do most 70-year-olds use skateboards? Probably not. So if you put together a messaging platform, if you try to put together a message campaign and market skateboards to 70-year-olds or $25,000 bikes to 70-year-olds, you probably wouldn't sell a lot. You probably wouldn't be successful. Because even though the message could be perfect, it's the wrong audience, it's the wrong target. So the first thing we have to think about is who is our target. And the message is important, but we have to make sure the target makes sense too, right? So you have to really pull the two things together in order to be successful. So there's content, what type of content you're going to make, and then there's the messaging, which we'll talk about here in a second, and then there's the target, the audience. That's important. But in elementary, middle school, we used to do things called book reports, right? We used to read a book and then write a report about that. And then there were basic questions in a book report we had to answer in order to make sure that we understood the book. What was one of the first questions that we had to
write the book, the author.
Well, yeah, the first thing we had to know about is what, right? What is the book about? What is the book about? And then the next thing we need to know is who, like you said, who wrote the book? And then the other thing we want to know is where, right? Where did the story take place? Where is the story about? And then the next thing we want to know is when. Remember that? When did all the storyline uncover itself? When did it all go down? Let's see, what, who, where, when, how about why? Right? Why? Why did things happen? And then the last one would be how. Right? How did things go down? How did things develop, evolve? So these basic questions are still apply today in the business environment, in the marketing environment. So we're going to cover a lot of different topics, a lot of different things. But if you get stuck, remember the what, the who, the where, the when, the why, and the how, and then you can sort of pull things apart, because that's an important basic fundamental need. Anything you can think about, any topic, comes down to what, who, where, when, why, and how, right? Just about anything we do, any type of marketing. So if we're putting together a marketing campaign or an advertising campaign, the first thing we should know about is what? What makes us so special? What is our messaging? Okay? And then the next thing we need to know is that target. Who? Who are we trying to target? Who are we trying to go after? And then the third thing we should know is where. Where do they live? Where do they reside? Right? And then the timing of it all, the when. When do we send the message out? When's the best time to get the message out? Like you said, there's a time frame that you have to work around to get the message out. And then the why. So when you send out a message, you should explain why I'm different than you. Why are you going to be engaged with my product or my service? What's the reason why you're going to be hooked? And then the how. How am I going to get that conversion? What am I going to do to convert them and to build the business? So if you remember some of those key fundamental things, you can sort of work through the process of trying to create a plan, an integrated marketing communications plan, or a social media plan, or a marketing plan, and you can answer those questions in just about any aspect of business to help you get to a better place. Right? So that's key. No matter where you are, and if you get stuck, just come back to the what, the who, the where, the when, the why, the how. Answer those questions, and you'll get to a better place. And that's sort of how you fundamentally come down to understanding things, right? That makes sense. So let's talk about that for a second. The first thing is the what, right? The what. What makes you so different? What makes you so different? What is your, what we call is this USP. That's that unique selling proposition. Okay, in your case, if we talk about the bicycles, yeah, you can't, I mean, you may sell bikes that they sell at Walmart, maybe not, probably not, right? But that's what makes you different. You're not going to walk into your shop and get a $99 bicycle that I can get at Target or Walmart. So we know that walking in, because that's your differentiation. That's what makes you different. That's how you differentiate yourself from the Targets of the world, from the Walmarts of the world. That's really the what. That's that unique selling proposition. You have to have that first. Does anybody in here buy a Me Too item?
A Me Too item?
A Me Too. So if you're online, right, and you're looking for something, do you buy something that's the same? I mean, do you always, if you do that, what are you comparing? If you find 10 items the same, what's the next thing you look at? Let's say you wanted to buy a pair of shoes, black shoes. You come to shoe number 1, and then you come to shoe number 2. It looks exactly like shoe number 1. Then you come to shoe number 3. It looks exactly like shoes number 1 and 2. Then you come to shoe number 4. It looks exactly like number 1, 2, and 3. Then you come to shoe number 5. It looks exactly like 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, they all look the same. They're the same color, same shape, same size. What's the next thing you look at?
Price.
Yeah, price, right? So price is one of the most important things in those 4 P's that we talked about. It's the most sensitive too. Imagine the 4 P's as dials. What are they again? Product, place, promotion, and then price. Okay? We could turn price left or right and it'll change the results. We could turn product left or right, it'll change the product. We could turn promotion left or right, it'll change the results of the sales of the product. And we could change the place, meaning the distribution channels. We can go online or go wholesale or go retail, it'll change the results. But out of these 4 dials, out of the marketing mix, price is the most sensitive dial of them all. Why? If I lowered price, what's going to happen? If I lower the price of any product, what normally happens?
Less profit.
You'll make less profit, perhaps sales will go up, right?
Yeah.
Now, sales will go up, but then your profit will come down. So you have to ask yourself, are you in the business to sell more and make less profit? Or do you want to sell less and make more profit? Now, if I raise the price, what happens?
You won't sell.
You could lose sales, but you could also make more money, right? You make more profit. So your volume will go down, but your profit will go up. That's just in the transactional piece. What happens to production if I increase price and volume goes down? What happens to production?
Come to lay off people.
Right. You have less production. You have to lay off people, and then you might have to, get less trucks. So it changes a lot of the operational piece too. What if I lowered price and my sales have gone up because people are buying more? So you're bringing your customer in. You're giving them a better product for less money. So you make tinier margins, but then you're making nice margins on all the accessories that you're selling. So you're upselling or you're cross-selling them, which is fine. That's been around forever. That technique has been around forever. Now we have social media and online sales and do that. But we used to call that a loss leader, where we would sell something for less money to bring people into the store.
Traffic.
Right, create that traffic, and then once they're here, then they buy something else. So we're doing that online right now. We might sell something with free shipping for $9.99 or something like that. And then once they're on the store, we might be able to get them to buy something else at $25.99. And now we make more margin on that. So we'll give them free shipping, but bring them in, because once they hit that $30 free shipping window, they'll spend $100 because they'll get other items too. And we make bigger margin on that. And the more you buy, that shipping cost for us goes down, because now it's spread across other items, or we make more margin. So we used to do that, milk, bread, eggs, the commodity stuff that everybody needs. We used to sell milk for 99 cents, and people will come inside, or eggs for 99 cents, people will come inside the store, they buy the eggs, but then you know what, they also buy the Pepsi Cola, they also buy, what goes with eggs? Bacon, you know, cheese, bread to make a sandwich, cold cuts. So you buy what we call this basket of goods,